once lived a 15-year-old girl who seemed like an ordinary girl, only she wasn't. She was actually a superhero in hiding. Her name was Kaya McTigue. Kaya was like every other 15-year-old. Went to school, went to the beach, lived with her parents and 2 brothers, and even liked to shop. The only thing was, when the world called for her help, she was there in an instant. However, it wasn't always that way. It was the challenging events she had to overcome to be the superhero she is today. The first events that she really conquered was creating the iMovie. In the beginning, she was very nervous because she had no idea the power she was up against. She had never used iMovie before and honestly was not looking forward to it, but she knew part of being a superhero was taking the opportunity when it's thrown at her. When that day arrived, Kaya fought long and hard with iMovie. She hit it with her semi-technology skills, but it kept throwing hidden punches at her. She could not figure out how to time her moves right. She quickly came up with a solution called the internet. She Googled what her obstacles were and where and how to overcome them. Another event that really brought my attention to her was the building challenge. In order to save the world, she had to know how to build something. What if something happened to a bridge and she had to repair it before anyone was killed? It was her duty to make sure she was prepared for anything, and she would not let anything get in her way. Her first take on building, she got very frustrated. She could not figure out how to use the tools. On top of that, there were so many she didn't know where to start. First, she had to figure out how to use a drill. Then she had to figure out how to use a driver. Even though she was a superhero doesn't mean she's any less girly, and let me tell you, girls do not know how to use tools, let alone build a table. After that, she figured out how to build her table. She even did a scale drawing and mapped out the whole thing. When she finished, it was a little off balance, but she was proud she got the basics down. Now, I know what you're thinking. Building an iMovie isn't exactly the skills you think you need to save the world. However, the skills I'm about to tell you are irreplaceable. These skills will not only blow your mind, but they will show you why you're so important and why you need them for the future. The first life-changing experience is what I like to call problem solving. Not only should everyone know how to do this, but it is crucial Kaya knows. After all, she is saving the world. She needs to know how to build and be able to stay calm when something goes wrong, and come up with fast and effective solutions. For example, while she was working on figuring out how to prove to the world the importance of being self-sustainable, her system collapsed. All the water in the bins that helped hydrate the plants was overflowing. The bins inside the table were falling through the sides. For a second, she felt failure, but instead, her and her partners in crime came up with a fast and effective solution. Instead of freaking out, she learned how to cope with the unexpected and decided all she had to do was add more support to her system. Kaya then added 1 more block of wood to each side of the bin to make sure she had enough support. Although it was not the most aesthetically pleasing system, it worked, and that's all that mattered. This system got the point across and ended up spreading the message of being self-sustainable all over the place. Another one of my favorite events that happened throughout this year was Kaya's accomplishment in completing her cooking class. From this, she learned planning, drafting, and revising. This was a very important event because many mistakes were made, but it was good because they were all learned from. In this cooking workshop, Kaya and some of her other superhero friends teamed up and were on a mission to use the food they grew and incorporate it into their cooking. They thought that if they could save the world, they could cook. Unfortunately, they thought wrong. Cooking was actually a lot harder than it seemed. They had to find a recipe that incorporated their foods that they grew, make sure it was healthy, because you can't save the world eating donuts all day. Once her and her power team of highly intelligent heroes finished that, they made a task chart to make sure everyone knew their duties. However, they did not think the actual cooking would be so hard and they would have to put so much effort into it. Finally, when it came to the practice run, they failed their mission. They were so upset because they never failed missions. Then they finally realized how much they needed to step up their game and brainstorm and work together to complete their revised and another task. Once they did a great job on their cooking. Finally, the most important event Kaya wanted me to inform you of on this lovely day is time management. You can know all the skills that I just talked about, but they will mean nothing if you don't manage your time. This is a project that Kaya really tested and proved time management, and it's called Animal Farm. It was not the most exciting event she had, or so she said, but it had completely changed her as a person. The problem with Animal Farm was that it was such a big project. There were so many deadlines that you had to get done and manage your time, or else you would not be able to complete your tasks and you would fail. Here in school we call that a zero, and we all know zeros aren't good. Luckily, Kaya was on top of things and was able to complete her task with little to no complications. And for that, she feels she has grown not only as a person, but as a superhero. The reason why Kaya asked me to save this one for last is because it hit her the hardest, and it shows you the importance of time management. By managing your time, you will not only create better work, but it will help you get everything done when you have a lot on your plate.